Hello guys, I'm Tom, and today we'll be exploring what the Gremloblin is. One of the most interesting and strange monsters we encounter in the epic animated series Gravity Falls is the creature called the Gremloblin. Gremloblins are unique creatures, as they are a hybrid species between a gremlin and a gnome, inhabiting the forests near the town of Gravity Falls, Oregon. Before diving deeply into the nature of Gremloblins, I want to cover their full history and origins, as presented in both the animated series and Journal Number 3. In Journal Number 3, it is revealed that many years before the events of the series, scientist Stanford Pines began his research into the supernatural anomalies in Gravity Falls. Ford recounts that when he and his companion Fiddleford were exploring the depths of the forest after acquiring an extraterrestrial artifact, they decided to take a new path for better exploration of the area. Near a small mountain, while passing by a cliff, they found the skeleton of a pterosaur. According to Ford, the skeleton was massive and far larger than any pterosaur known to modern science. The strangest part, Ford noted, was that the bones were not fossilized and appeared to be recent. This directly references the dinosaurs in suspended animation within Amber, which appear in the series' first season. Ford mentions that Fiddleford was greatly frightened by the skeleton, as he was always very nervous about the supernatural occurrences in the town and the nearby forests. As they continued their journey, Ford spotted a strange and unique creature sleeping on the ground. Fiddleford begged Stanford not to disturb the creature, but Ford argued that, according to legend, these creatures are incredibly difficult to awaken due to their deep sleep. Even a child or a novice researcher could capture them without waking them from their long sleep or hibernation. Ford couldn't resist the opportunity to sketch and study the Gremloblin up close. In Journal Number 3, the scientist provides a detailed drawing of the creature and writes several notes about it. He describes Gremloblins as hybrids between gnomes and gremlins, and speculates that certain creatures should never interbreed. Another example he mentions is a half-leprechaun, half-unicorn creature that also appears in Journal Number 3. Ford describes the Gremloblin as a horrible creature, difficult to look at for extended periods. He also warns that saying its name 3 times quickly is dangerous. While Ford was sketching and analyzing the Gremloblin, Fiddleford became increasingly nervous, hid behind a large tree, and begged Ford to finish quickly. At that moment, the extraterrestrial artifact they had in their backpack emitted a loud sound, similar to an alarm. Ford believes this was due to the drastic change in altitude. The noise woke the Gremloblin, which began attacking violently. The creature grabbed Ford by the neck and stared him down. Ford was astounded by the beast's size and strength. Determined to help his friend, Ford poured water from his canteen onto the creature, hoping to scare it away. However, Ford noted in the journal that water only makes Gremloblins even more terrifying. The monster flew toward the mountain with Fiddleford trapped in its claws. Ford ran after them and, despite being attacked, managed to jump using his magnetic gun. He aimed at the extraterrestrial artifact that Fiddleford still had, and, with a strong strike from the magnetic gun, managed to knock the Gremloblin unconscious. The creature and the 2 men fell from a great height, but landed in a barn filled with hay, which cushioned the impact. The horses in the barn were frightened, but calmed down once they saw the Gremloblin was unconscious. Ford confirms that the extraterrestrial artifact was safe, but Fiddleford was left in terrible condition after the incident. According to Ford, his friend entered a catatonic state of panic and pure terror, staring blankly and murmuring incoherently. He didn't even notice that his arm was broken and covered in the Gremloblin's poisonous spines. Stanford immediately took Fiddleford to his lab to try and treat him. Interestingly, Ford mentions that although he was able to treat his friend's physical wounds and injuries, Fiddleford remained deeply disturbed psychologically. Fiddleford confided to Ford that he hadn't been able to sleep for days, as he could still remember the terrifying gaze of the Gremloblin. Ford expressed great concern for his friend, who had been traumatized by the entire ordeal. As a result, he decided to teach Fiddleford some meditation and breathing techniques to help him manage his fears. He also advised him to relax and try to think of a logical solution to overcome his bad experience. This led Fiddleford to work through the night and eventually create the memory erasing gun. This device helps erase bad experiences and the trauma of having looked directly into the Gremloblin's eyes. Ford concludes that looking into the eyes of this creature is extremely dangerous, capable of driving people insane. Although this is the only direct encounter with a Gremloblin mentioned in the journals, the animated series features this creature in the episode titled Boss Mabel. In that episode, Dipper searches for a supernatural attraction for the Mystery Shack after his sister Mabel, who is temporarily running the business, urges him to find something amazing to exhibit to the tourists. Taking advantage of the fact that the Gremloblin was asleep, Dipper easily captures it and brings it to the shack, where he locks it in a metal cage. However, the tourists visiting the shack are unimpressed and assume it's just a fake animatronic. But when they look directly into the creature's eyes, they see their worst nightmares and fall into a catatonic state requiring hospitalization. Later, Mabel, seeing the Gremloblin as if it were an overworked employee, gives it a key to take a 5-minute break. This allows the creature to escape its cage, destroy the gift shop, and eat the business's earnings. This forces Dipper and Mabel to hide, while Dipper consults Journal Number 3. Dipper discovers that water should only be used as a last resort, as it makes the monster more powerful. However, Mabel overhears only the first part of the warning and pours a jug of water on the Gremloblin, causing the creature to mutate and become even more dangerous. The beast grabs Mabel and, just before she looks directly into its eyes, Dipper distracts the monster with a mirror. Upon seeing its reflection, the Gremloblin witnesses its own worst nightmare and flees the shack in terror. Throughout the series, there are other references to the Gremloblin. For example, when Dipper is looking through Journal Number 3 for ideas to deal with the gnomes, he briefly considers using a Gremloblin against them. Additionally, in the Shapeshifter episode, this creature briefly takes the form of a Gremloblin. Now that we know the backstory of the Gremloblins in Gravity Falls, it's interesting to discuss their physical appearance, abilities, and weaknesses. As their name suggests, they possess traits of both gnomes and gremlins, although they generally resemble gremlins more closely. They are large, muscular creatures with dark green, reptilian-textured skin. Their red, pupilless eyes can glow yellow when they use their powers. They have spines on their bodies, giving them a grotesque and fantastical appearance. The Gremloblin's lower jaw is prominent, featuring sharp teeth and massive fangs. Mushrooms grow on their shoulders, and their arms are hairy with bat-like pointed ears. Interestingly, when they come into contact with water, they grow larger, develop bat wings, and their spines become even more pronounced. In terms of abilities, they can project people's worst nightmares into their minds simply by making eye contact, which can drive them insane. They also possess incredible physical strength, enough to destroy the Mystery Shack, though not strong enough to break out of their metal cage. They are fast creatures, capable of flying and spitting fire, although the latter power is rarely used in the series. Despite their abilities, Gremloblins have significant weaknesses. While intelligent, they are not as clever as humans. Additionally, their reflection frightens them and can drive them mad if they look directly into their own eyes. Finally, because they hibernate for long periods, they are relatively easy to study and capture while asleep. Overall, Gremloblins are one of the most intriguing concepts in Gravity Falls. Their design combines elements of Steven Spielberg's classic monsters with Lovecraftian aspects and gnome-like traits. Although terrifying and original, their appearance in the series is brief, leaving viewers wanting to explore them further. What about you? Were you familiar with the Gremloblins from Gravity Falls? What do you think of their design and origins in the series? If you look directly into a Gremloblin's eyes, what terrifying thing do you think you would see? Leave your answers in the comments along with your general opinion of these creatures. As always, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, share it to support the channel, and subscribe so you won't miss any of my new videos.